The amount of stress to look a particular way because this is your livelihood, I get that the stakes are high, and I want you to understand that it is possible to achieve whatever it is you need to achieve in a healthier way than going to crazy extremes. And I get that sometimes we are in crunch time. And again, that's where so many conversations where it depends comes up or there's nuance. But there's a lot that you can do to manipulate the body from your training, from your nutrition to ensure that you are going to book the next one. I wanted to do a special episode today specifically for our performers. So, if you are a dancer, you are a model, you are an actor, doing anything where performing is a way that you are earning your paycheck, your body is a part of your business. And I want to help to educate you today in regards to understanding how strength training can help you with your particular type of performing in order to book the next job. Because depending on the industry you are in, there's different things that you might want to think a little bit more about, and you can be really strategic about it to make sure that it is helping you in the career that you have picked for yourself. Because when we think of strength training, it's important to remember that strength training is an umbrella term. You can train for legitimate strength. Like maybe you need to lift something really heavy, but you don't necessarily want an aesthetic that makes it look like you lift. You know, maybe there is a role where you do need to like be really strong, but you're not supposed to look that way. Again, this is one of those situations where it's like nuance and the whole idea of it depends really starts to play a role. But maybe you do some type of performing where the aesthetic really matters. And depending on how you train and how you fuel your body, you really can change the way you look so that you are being considered for a particular type of role and you can get yourself there in a healthy way without doing anything extreme when it comes to crunch time. And, you know, for those of you who are performing on some type of a tour, let's say you're somebody like a Taylor Swift, where you need to keep on going and going. When it comes to focusing more so on strength training regarding endurance, so that you can sing and move and feel strong and energized at the same time, like that's a completely different strategy. Now, all of that stuff can blend together, but I want to make it really clear that if you are a performer, the type of strength training that you do could really make a big impact on your job. And I want to tell you, I have experience as a performer. So I grew up performing. I was a musical theater major in college. I grew up acting. I grew up doing some modeling, and I ended up getting signed with SLU when I was in my mid 20s for fitness modeling. So I understand the name of the performing game. I understand what it's like to do a double show day. I understand what it is to perform night after night. I understand what it feels like to have a life outside of performance. I understand what it feels like to be on set all day and, you know, needing to hold a particular pose or needing to be in a particular position and feeling like I can actually be there without passing out. You know, I think a lot of people who are not in the performer space, they don't fully understand what that is. They don't necessarily understand the demands and they don't understand the stakes. But when this is the path you have chosen to bring money in, it's really important that you are taking care of your body in a way where you can avoid burnout and you can feel really strong and you are able to, you know, book the role or the shoot or whatever over the next person and you feel like you can keep going. You know, I think when it comes to being a performer, regardless if you are an actor, you're a singer, you are a model, you're anything in between, it is a very subjective industry. And that's one of the reasons why I actually left that industry. But for those of you who are still there, I have learned the hard way. I have learned the right and the wrong way to manipulate the body, manipulate energy in a positive way where I feel like if I was still in that industry, I would fucking crush it. But that's not my goal anymore. But if you are a performer, I would love to help give you some insight today so you have a little bit more of an understanding of where maybe you should be focusing some more of your time, your energy when it comes to strength training. I know you know this strength training. Everybody's talking about it, hot topic, and it's one of those topics that has so much science behind it. When you feel strong, your energy is elevated. When you feel strong, your posture is typically stronger than those who aren't lifting weights. When you are working in the right rep range with the right type of load for your body and the goal over X amount of time, what you can accomplish, what you can feel like is really incredible. And I think that's something that not everybody is fully aware of. And we're going to dive into it today. So I want to go back through the umbrella term of strength training. So we have lifting for like pure strength. So when we are training more strength focused exercises, a more strength focused program, we can't necessarily see a whole lot of muscle. We're not going to necessarily see a whole lot of physical change on your body. Like, this is something that I would highly encourage for somebody who doesn't want to look like they have a whole lot of muscle on their body, but they want to feel like I have a lot of energy and I am really strong. Like somebody who needs to get into a weird position for a split moment. Maybe you need to like hold your body in a particular position that is really challenging. Maybe you need to lift something in a moment for like a particular photo. Maybe it is like just getting into a unique, what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily like environment, but like maybe you are being asked to pose while like hanging from something. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I feel like if you are somebody who is in the modeling space, this is something you should be considering taking advantage of. Because I think one of the big concerns when it comes to a lot of models is there is a very particular aesthetic that you are trying to hold on to. And I get it, it is for your job. So in order to get stronger, you're probably not lifting for muscle growth. You're probably not lifting for, another term for that is hypertrophy. It's that 8 to 12 rep range that a lot of people are aiming to lift in because a lot of people are trying to put on muscle. And I get for you, that's probably not what you're really looking for unless, you know, you are specifically modeling for fitness, or if you are particularly like modeling for something more down in a like a niche territory. But you doing stuff more in that 3 to 5 rep range, oh my gosh, the amount of strength you're going to feel like you have, the amount of energy you're going to feel like you have, it's going to be untouched. It's going to be unmatched. And another place for you to really explore is the endurance space. So when I'm talking about endurance space, I'm talking about muscular endurance. So that's typically going to be when we're working more in a 15 to 20 rep range. And when we're there, the weight's just not heavy enough to stimulate the type of change that we get when we're working in that 8 to 12 rep range. The focus is not going to be on breaking down muscle fibers. And again, something to keep in mind is if your goal really is to build muscle, strength training alone, it's only going to take you so far. I'm not going to say it's not going to make an impact whatsoever because I have lived through this and I have seen it with other clients. But the nutrition piece really does play a big role. So even if you are doing that to some extent, it's okay. But if I had a client who, let's say it's a model, And we do not want to change the aesthetic, but we want to get stronger and we want to feel like you can be on set all day and feel energized. I would encourage you to focus on lifting in that 3 to 5 rep range. And I would encourage you to lift in that 15 to 20 rep range in order to get the benefits of lifting, feeling stronger, having more endurance, having more strength without necessarily looking any different. Now, if you are somebody who is performing every day, like maybe you are some type of a Broadway performer, maybe you are somebody who is on tour performing every day, you're doing double show days, maybe you are somebody who is a singer, a performing artist, think like Taylor Swift Eras Tour, to be able to sustain what she did every day. I don't know how many days it was. I was at the Eras Tour in Colorado, and watching that performance was cuckoo bananas. The energy she had to be able to sustain all of that movement, all of that energy while singing, like that doesn't just happen by accident. You need to train for that. And training, I would say, for somebody who is in that kind of level of performance is definitely going to benefit from more of the muscular endurance standpoint of things, so that they can last for a long period of time. They can move without getting tired. I would say for those people, again, the focus might not be on, growing your muscles or changing your physical aesthetic. And you might not really need to lift anything super heavy, but to feel like you have the energy to sustain your time on stage without being tired, it's going to be really important that you are spending time more so in that 15 to 20 rep range. And the other thing to kind of keep in mind about the performer who is doing a show night after night, if you are in a position where you don't necessarily have somebody who can keep altering your costume, you might also want to make sure that the body's really not changing a whole lot. So again, being in that rep range, we're going to be able to focus more so on endurance, muscular endurance, than necessarily changing the shape of your body. Now, if you're trying to change the shape of your body simultaneously and you are in a position where, alterations can be made, and you did want to, go into some type of a build, or maybe you wanted to like go into a build so that you're creating more muscle, and then you're going to go into some type of a calorie deficit so you can decrease your body fat and have more of this like muscular aesthetic, being more so in that 8 to 12 rep range could be really beneficial for you too. But I think for the purpose of your job and having the energy to sustain what it is you are doing day after day, having a focus in that 15 to 20 rep range can be really beneficial for you, especially knowing that it's not going to change the physical size of your body. Okay, the last one I want to talk about is if you are somebody who is preparing for a role and you need to change the aesthetic of your body, it's the combination of strength training and nutrition that is going to be able to get you there in a safe and a healthy way. And I would say, when you are preparing for a role, like this is your job. It is your job to train. It is your job to eat a particular way so you are ready for this role. This is your full-time job. So when it comes to this is the full-time job, you can be in the gym, 5 times a week. You can take the extra time to figure out the macros and make sure everything is in alignment. Now, it's hard to speak to, well, what exactly do you need to do? Because I don't know how you need to look for the role. I don't know if you need to lose weight. I don't know if you need to gain weight. I don't know if you need to get shredded. I don't know if you need to put on muscle, but it is possible that the type of training and the type of fueling that you are doing is going to be able to get you there and then also get you out of it. There are plenty of actors and actresses who gain weight or lose weight for a particular role. And then once they're done, they want to go back to a place where they want to be for other parts of their life or in preparation for the next role. When it comes to, again, changing the aesthetic, I would say you are probably, if you are trying to create more muscle, if you're trying to have more of like a toned type of a look. Maybe you're getting ready for like a superhero movie. I don't know. But you need to build muscle. You're going to be in that 8 to 12 rep range. Okay. And then let's say you're trying to do that. You probably are going to need to eat in some type of a maintenance to a surplus in order to like build a lot of muscle relatively quickly. And then you are going to need your training to be at some type of a level where you are not losing any of the muscle mass, but you can cut the body fat. And this is where, the details between, well, what is the specific goal, where the strength training and the nutrition, they play a role, but we're probably going to be spending more time in that 8 to 12 rep range than elsewhere if we are trying to like get jacked for a film. And like something that comes to my mind is, thinking about how Gal Gadot got ready for Wonder Woman, or thinking about, Hugh Jackman getting ready to play Wolverine. It's a lot of focus in on that 8 to 12 rep range and making sure you are eating enough to achieve this superhero type of look. And then, let's say there's somebody who is trying to get a role where they need to look like kind of sickly or really small, but you yourself do not want to be sickly. There's probably less of a focus in on that 8 to 12 rep range. I know if I had a client there, I would most likely have them focus more so on pure strength work, more of that 3 to 5 rep range, most likely. And we would be eating enough protein to maintain muscle. And, if we needed to potentially lose some muscle, yeah, we would probably manipulate a little bit more with the nutrition, maybe start to slightly decrease protein intake to some extent. But a lot of it's going to be the fact that we're not going to hang out in that 8 to 12 rep range. We're not going to focus so much on muscle itself. We're going to focus a little bit more on keeping you strong from a strength standpoint. And that has a lot more to do with neurological adaptations than it necessarily does with muscular adaptations. So just, I feel like talking about this one in particular, there's so many variables where it's like, well, it depends, but this is the takeaway I want you to get from this. If you are an actor who is getting ready for a role, you are looking to transform, maybe you haven't got the role yet, maybe you're going to get ready to go into a casting and you want to, look as close to this part as you possibly can. It's probably going to be more manipulation around the combo of the nutrition and the strength training standpoint. And again, depending on what is required of that role, you might want to spend some more time in, that 3 to 5 rep range, that 8 to 12 rep range, maybe, are going to be portraying some type of athlete where the muscular endurance stuff kind of comes into play. It really depends, but I want you to understand that it is absolutely possible to feel strong, feel energized, and feel ready for whatever role, for whatever booking is coming your way that you want to feel strong about, not just like physically strong, but also mentally strong for too. I have had clients in the past, I am not one to name drop, but I have had clients in the past where you have probably seen them in movies or on TV or on Broadway. And the amount of stress to look a particular way because this is your livelihood, I get that the stakes are high. And I want you to understand that it is possible to achieve whatever it is you need to achieve in a healthier way than going to crazy extremes. And I get that sometimes we are in crunch time. And again, that's where so many conversations where it depends comes up or there's nuance, but there's a lot that you can do to manipulate the body from your training, from your nutrition to ensure that you are going to book the next role. And if you are interested in working with me, if you are interested in working with the team of registered dietitians that I am connected to, we would love to help you. You can reach out to me in the DMs on Instagram. My handle is I am Colleen Conlon. You can reach out on my website. I offer private training. Anything that you might need that might need to be a little bit more on the DL, I am happy to accommodate you with. Thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, don't forget to leave a rating and review. Women are stronger together, so share this with a woman who you want to see rise. When we embrace positive takeaways, we level up, and when we share them, we change the world. Follow us on Instagram at The Dangerous Women Podcast and let us know what you want to hear next. And remember, dangerous women redefine wellness and the world. So be fierce, be authentic, be dangerous.